America's most powerful tech companies already know more about you than your parents do. They share that information with others. They make billions doing it. Just today, Facebook admitted it gave data on 87 million people to Cambridge Analytica. No big deal. Tech companies drive economic inequality. They've done that a lot in California. They collude with one another to suppress free speech, while their CEOs demand an end to gun rights from behind a wall of armed guards. They create addictive services and deliberately get children hooked on them. Then they'll brag about how they'll be able to buy themselves immortality in the end. They're even creating new risks for national defense. So what defense can be made of the tech industry, which increasingly occupies a central place in our lives? Dean Garfield is president of the Information Technology Industry Council, and he joins us tonight. Dean, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, I think.
So there are a lot of ways.
I see you're a big fan of ours.
Well, you know, there are things about, I mean, these companies are successful because they're amazing. Google is an amazing product. Facebook is an amazing product. I would never deny that, and they're American companies, so I'm proud of that.
Right.
But there's a massive downside that has been suppressed, and I could name a lot. Here's just one. The more you use Facebook, according to study after study after study, the less happy you become. We've seen a massive spike in suicide rates, especially among kids. I'm not saying they're driven by Facebook. I am saying we should take a close look at things that are affecting kids' emotional well-being. These are credible studies. You're familiar with them. How is this different, an addictive product that hurts people, from cigarettes?
Well, I think it's quite different from cigarettes in that there is demonstrated evidence that smoking nicotine is addictive and is bad for your health. I don't think that evidence exists for Facebook or other social media. That being said, most of the companies that we represent understand their responsibility to society and are making sure that they're evaluating what's going on and taking steps to make sure that it's not doing harm.
There's no evidence. Okay, so here's Sean Parker. He's the founding president of Facebook. Here's what he said November 9th, and he described his company. It's exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. It literally changes your relationship with society, with others. It probably interferes with productivity. God knows what it's doing to our children's brains. But we do know, because the Journal of Epidemiology found that, quote, the more people use Facebook, the less healthy they are and the less satisfied with their lives, especially true of children. Study after study after study. So we know it hurts people, unless we think science is invalid, and we know that it was designed to be addictive. So how is that allowed?
I don't think we know that it's designed to be addictive. And as well, the people who run and founded those companies didn't create them with addiction or doing harm in mind. They created them to do something pretty phenomenal, as you noted, which is to deepen social connections.
But that hasn't happened. I mean, there's no study that shows.
When there are 2 billion people
I'll tell you how. Okay. Because there's not a single, and we've looked at it pretty closely, there's not a single study that has shown that the more you use social media, the more connected you are to people. You may communicate with them more, but in no true sense are you more connected. In fact, you're more isolated, and that's what these studies, and I have all of them, 2015, University of Missouri, 2013, a huge one, 2016, all of these show that social media use decreases life satisfaction because it alienates people from each other. Yeah. Why won't the companies admit that?
My sense is that, and my view is that there is little reason to admit something that's still quite nascent and still being studied. I think there's a lot of conversation about the neurological implications and a deep desire to get to the bottom of what the implications are, and if there is a problem, then to do something about it.
How much money is Google, for example, or Facebook spending on researching this? I don't think any of these studies were funded by the industry.
I don't think so either.
Right. So it doesn't sound like they're taking their responsibility seriously. Let me ask you a macro question, which is this.
I wouldn't say that at all. In fact, I adamantly disagree. I think the companies do take this seriously. That's why.
How much are they spending studying it?
I don't know. That's not to suggest that they're not studying it.
Right.
In fact, in all of the discussions today about legislation around these issues like the Honest Act, most of the response from the companies have been not adamantly opposed, but let's have a conversation about what the implications are.
But we're billions and billions and billions and billions of profit dollars into this. This has been going on for more than 10 years. There's been evidence for a while that it might be harmful. Why haven't they taken the lead in this? Because they don't care, right?
Wrong.
Wrong. Wrong. Okay. Well, I hope you'll come back. Look, anytime you want to come back, we've hit the tech companies really hard, and if there's countervailing evidence, I really want to see it. So if they have initiatives to address these things, I hope you'll come on. You'll always have space here to talk about them.
Absolutely. I welcome
that. Thank you very much.
All right. My, how the world has changed. Thousands of Google employees just signed a letter chastising their company for working with the Pentagon to improve the precision of drones so only bad guys get killed in war, not civilians. It could change war forever, reducing mass death. Yet these employees think that's evil. Go figure. So think about this. How does a company like Google thrive? Well, it helps to exist in a country with the world's greatest defenses, which enables freedom to thrive. It also helps that over a half-century ago, American companies made up of young men and women helped us win some world wars. Without that, we'd be speaking German instead of using Google. During World War II, U.S. industries produced more than 3 Axis countries combined. That's 300,000 planes, 100,000 tanks, and plug your ears, Juan, 15 million guns. All of this from the home front. So how's the home front now? Well, these childlike Google heads think they can live forever in a silicone bubble, immune to the real world's risks and responsibilities, seemingly unaware of the sacrifices grandparents and great-grandparents made to enable the comfy Google lifestyle. As terrorists refine their own technology and plan the next 9/11, these kids at Google think their expertise should only be used for getting directions to a Thai restaurant. Thank God they weren't around in the 1940s. So, Kimberly.
Yes.
The drones are going to be used to target bad guys so you have less collateral damage. How can you be against that?
Well, right. It just doesn't make sense. But, you know, when you look at in terms of the political ideology, you have like Eric Schmidt, you know, running Google, was at Hillary Clinton campaign events, etc., wearing Politico badge, all of the above. Anyway, they go through this whole background checking, etc. It's pretty much a little bit of a lockstep over there in terms of progressive ideals. So they think that it's, you know, the right idea to be on the right side of it, to say, oh, we're against war, we're against this, and have this kind of positioning. But they really don't understand what they're protesting against. If you're protesting against the Pentagon or Department of Defense or anything like that being involved, this is what's actually helping you be safe in terms of even cybersecurity. So why would they be opposed to this? It's just not very well thought out.
Yeah, you know, Kennedy, I could see this in a world without terror and toxic existential ideologies that want to destroy the earth. We are in a different kind of war. It's not a war that is on a battlefield. It's a war that's kind of around and waiting for the opportunity. Should these people be arrested that work at Google?
That's a little authoritarian.
Yes, it is.
I don't necessarily.
Should you be arrested, Kennedy?
Absent for other things. Believe you me, the night is young. But I will say this: there is merit to being anti-war, and I understand that, and I understand the desire and the thrust to use technology for positive means, for bringing people out of poverty, for educating people. That's all well and good, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, and I also agree with him that the marriage of big government with big technology is really scary. Because
in a good way, you mean?
No, I mean, if weapons of war and surveillance are combined, essentially we're powerless. That's why the Second Amendment is really, really important, so people can defend themselves. But if, you know,
with drones, though, you could defend yourself with drones. It's going to happen.
Does everyone get a drone?
Yes.
Does everyone get an armed drone?
Yes.
Can we target people with AI precision?
Yeah.
So I understand that. And the question is always not how can this be used? What is the intention? Because the intention is almost always good. It's how can it be misused? How can this power be misused? And
same argument with every technology, though, Kennedy. You can say that with everyone.
Well, and then I pose this question to them: what government functions are acceptable?
Excellent question. Jason, perhaps you could answer that.
Well, look, I think...
And don't mention anything about soccer.
These Googlers are showing a degree of immaturity. And you know what? If you look at the National Guard, the men and women who serve our nation on both sides of the aisle, they don't have a specific political ideology. And then you look at some snotty kid at Google who's trying to say, yeah, but our technology is better than that. We shouldn't allow you to have this. I just believe in peace through strength. The reason the United States of America is the greatest country on the face of the planet is because we've had hard people do difficult things, and that there is a price to freedom.
Right.
And they don't want to participate in that. They don't want to use their expertise to make us and keep us the greatest country on the planet. That is so wrong.
Juan?
Well, I don't understand this. What the young people, and I don't know if they're young, they could be Eric Schmidt's age, for all I know.
That's true.
Okay, so the people at Google are saying you can't outsource moral responsibility for your technology. So what Kennedy says is right. What happens when people start using this for evil purposes, and then you say, oh, gee, this is what's going on with Facebook, and allowing people to come in and they create these psychographs, which is now becoming more and more of an issue on our own voters, on us as citizens, and influence our elections. Now, in this case, guess what? They have a motto that says, don't be evil.
It's hypocritical.
Right? And I think this is, in this age, and I'm really surprised at you, Greg, because you have been hard on artificial intelligence and saying that artificial intelligence can be used to hurt us as human beings. And so now you're saying, oh no, just let all artificial intelligence, all technology fall into the hands of people whose job it is to kill people.
No, what I'm saying is that if this helps make weaponry
conspiratorial.
more precise in the battlefield, you will save innocent lives. Civilians, we won't have things like Dresden where you have to bomb entire cities. Instead, you have a drone that hangs out in front of somebody's window waiting for that person to leave, that terrorist to leave, and when that person goes out, it just goes zaps it. That's what they're trying to do.
Like a bug zapper.